Q3 GDP came in only at 4%, far missing economists' estimates. To talk more about that, let's bring in former NEDA Chief Solita Winnie Monsod. Welcome to Storycon again, Professor.
Hi, Professor.
Hi, Professor.
Professor, naka-mute po kayo. Ayan na, okay na.
Hi, Professor. Can you hear me okay?
I don't know how to make it.
Ayan na.
Is it okay?
Mahina po.
Hindi ko alam kung paano.
Ayun na. Yes.
Maybe I should go closer to the...
Ayan, ayan.
Perfect.
Ayan, okay.
Professor.
Okay.
Pero you can hear us naman, Professor Monsod.
Hello, Ami.
Hi. Mahina po yung dating nyo.
Ay, nako. Sorry, anong hindi ko alam kung ano.
Ayan na, okay na. Oo.
Okay. Professor.
Okay na.
Okay, is it okay now?
Yes, better. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Professor.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go right into it. So, 4% Q3 GDP, malaking it's a shock to most everyone. On a scale of 1 to 10 po, how angry are you about this number?
Not angry. I mean, that was expected. I mean, considering what has all been going on with our government, how can you expect anything to happen, to be anything but 4%? Our government infrastructure expenditures went down by 26.8%. That's a hell of a big decline over last year. And ang maganda rito, hindi naman maganda, but what is noteworthy is that decline was close to what happened in 14 years ago. In 2011, during Noynoy Aquino's during Noynoy Aquino's term as president, beginning years, because they were trying to fix the public works. In other words, what is notable is after that government fixed its public works problem with Babe Singson at the helm, the Aquino government went on to grow at a pace which has not been matched so far. So it was out of this corruption scandal. If it really takes root, yung anti-corruption measures, we can expect the Philippines to rise above this tremendously. Okay? In other words, it's not all bad news. It will be bad news is after all these scandals, wala rin nangyari. Ayan ang talagang bad news. But itong corruption scandal na ito, good news because at last we have found out, at least the Filipino people have found out who are to blame. Now, whether that gets translated into justice for the Filipino people, I don't know. If it does, we can expect very good things to happen to the Philippine economy. If it does not, we are doomed to failure, to continuous failure.
Professor, so sa sinabi niyo naka-recover during Noynoy's time, no? But how long yung reasonable period nun? Kasi pinag-uusapan ngayon ng mga tao, hindi lang flood control actually yung skandalo ngayon sa corruption It's another infrastructure at meron daw ngayon in some agencies, meron silang disbursement aversion. Kaya medyo babagal pa rin yung spending, no? Mga sa tingin nyo, yung reasonable time period bago ma-reverse tong slowdown na to?
Let me answer about Noynoy. In 2011, ayun nga ang problema, yung
yes,
government spending. By 2015, 4 years later, was one of the top 10 investment destinations of international investors. Investors. By 2015, the Philippines Corruption Perception Index had improved to a height that has never been achieved since then. By 2015, rule of law index had improved to an extent that was not seen afterwards. In other words, when Duterte came and when Marcos came, bumaba lahat yan. Alright? In other words, kung successful that's my evidence to you that kung successful, remember, and it was during Noynoy's time that yung hindi ba yung mga
Walang kurap, walang mahirap.
Napoles, yung mga maraming na jail, hindi
Yeah.
ba? Maraming kinasuhan. So that improved the international investor confidence in the Philippines so much so. Can you imagine the Philippines was one of the top 10 investment destinations of investors all over the world. So what do you make of that? I'm saying, this is all by way of saying, and I repeat, that if we handle this corruption scandal properly and really get people to jail instead of mga, what do you call that, for cosmetic purposes, then we will do very well. Pero, but hindi na ito nangyari. In other words, it's up to us. It's up to us to make sure that what is happening now continues to a good end.
Professor, break ko lang, no? It just came in. The Philippine peso closed at 59.04 to the dollar. Kaka-close lang ng markets right now. 59.04. I don't think we've seen those levels. I could be wrong, pero I don't think we've seen those levels since the pandemic. It's double check ko later. But nevertheless, it's obviously a signal of lack of confidence in the markets in the Philippines. Pero tama po kayo. I think that is the million-dollar question. Are we moving in the right direction when it comes to the investigation? Ano pong, what's your sense when you watch the ICI carry out its job?
I don't agree with you that 59 peso is a signal that we're going in the wrong direction. Who gets hurt by a 59 to 1 peso a foreign exchange rate? The government, because it has dollar-denominated debt. Is it not?
Yes.
Do the workers in the Philippines get hurt? No. Will Philippine goods be more attractive to foreigners? Yes. So what are you talking about now? Just because it goes down, masama? There are many people who want their currency to drop so that their countries will be more attractive.
Well,
about what is your about the current investigation ICI? I know what they're going to do, but up to now I still haven't seen any transparency in their hearings. Meron na bang transparency sa hearings nila? In other words, the people should be kept abreast of what is going on so that they know how to react to it and how to themselves act. Because the people now have to be proactive. Sila ang naman eh. Sila ang dapat may information as to what is going on so that they will know how to coordinate their actions about rallies, whatever it is that's going on. We have to keep the public pressure on the government as heavy as possible so that the government will do what they have to do. Kung wala mga taong nagko-complain, making noise, walang mangyayari sa Pilipinas. In other words, it is up to us, the people, to carry this forward and to make sure that the government is, that we are forcing the government to act the way we want them to act. Di ba?
Mm.
Kailangan ang participation ng mga ng sambayanan.
Professor, by way of institutional reforms, kasi sabi ng mga tao, yung sistema nandiyan pa rin naman eh. And there's a lot of skepticism actually na may mapaparusahan ng mga big fish. What would you like by way of institutional reforms? Ano yung pwede yung mga doables na nakikita nyo na pwedeng gawin?
Institutional reforms natin, Ami, I'll say it. Sino ang who is ultimately responsible for what is happening? Is it not Congress and the legislature?
Yeah.
Ang may problema dito. All right. We want institutional reforms in Congress. We already have our case before the Supreme Court, asking for the Supreme Court to do the political dynasty thing. In other words, to political dynasty law. All right? That's number one. Number two, sino nga nag-i-elect ng mga taong yun lang sa Kongreso ngayon? Hindi ba ang sambayanan? In other words, we bear a lot of the responsibility here. It's not just government. If we want good people in Congress, we have to elect them. Hindi ba? Sino nag-elect sa kanila? Hindi ba ang tao? So, we have to make sure that ang mga tao realize that the people they elected to Congress were really bad eggs. Hindi ba? And if they don't realize that, then we are doomed to having that kind of quality of Congress in the future. So a lot depends on the Filipino people. A lot depends. I don't want to put, it's not that they bear most of the responsibility.
Yeah.
The judiciary has to do its stuff. The executive has to do its stuff. But now, Congress is is at the center of attention. And who Congress there? Who? They were appointed.
Yeah. Professor, coming back to our discussion about the peso, my only point there being, it's been losing ground kasi the last several weeks because of weak investor confidence. And it's a trade-off, right? We also import a lot of things like oil, right? Fertilizer, raw materials. Anyways, I don't want to debate that point with you, but my question is, you're absolutely right. It's up to the people, but the election is still 3 years away. In the meantime, what can the people do? And also, do you think that the right people were put in place to clean up this mess? For example, yung sa ICI.
Well, I don't want to get into personalities. Let's talk about what people can do. Are projects in the barangays, the municipalities where the people are? I think the people can by themselves organize and look at these projects. Why do they have to wait for Vince Dizon to go to their municipalities to say, this is a ghost project? Let the people. We did that kind of thing where people were monitoring what the government was doing happened right after EDSA 1. After the EDSA revolution, people were organizing themselves as Bantay Bayan to make sure that the government projects were being constructed properly. The people had the right to check, and up to now they have the right to check. So you want the people to channel their activities to more productive more productive areas. I challenge the people in the barangay. Kung meron kayong project dyan sa barangay nyo na ginagawa, puntahin nyo, usisahin ninyo. Hindi ba? At kung meron, yan. Di ba merong sumbungan ng bayan ng Malacanang? Ayan talaga, ayan ang gawin ninyo. Hindi ba? Because who can do a better job than the people who are living there? Ayan, that's what the people can do. The people can also, of course, they can pray, they can rally, etc. But you do something concrete, there you have it. You don't have to go very far. Just see in your barangay, is there a project here that is being undertaken? If there is, we as a people have a right to the information on that project. Oh, you know,
True.
we don't have to spend our time all the time in rallies. Let's do hard, nitty-gritty work.
Hmm.
Not to spend any money. It's there in our barangay, if there are any in that barangay. Or if you want to go further in your barangay, go to the municipality. That is
So, Professor,
participation by the people. That shows that the people are really concerned and are bent on making sure that the people's money is not wasted.
Professor, what about the executive? Kasi si President Marcos got this investigation going, no? Do you think he can do more para mapabilis-bilis lang? I mean, siguro we're just too impatient, ano? Pero you think the executive can do something else?
The executive should have put on the cabinet. And the executive should have, the executive should examine himself. Did I appoint the right people? Why did it take so long before Martin Bonoan got investigated? All this time, this thing was happening under him. Why did the president, for example, appoint Martin Bonoan? What exactly were his qualifications? He's a good man. Maybe he's a good man, but maybe he was promoted to a job which was beyond his capacity. I don't know, but really and truly, that is what the president does. He appoints the officials who are who are executing the implementation executing the plans or the projects being approved by the Congress. The Congress, power of the purse, the executive implements.
Yeah.
Implementation is poor. So what does that mean? That the president has a responsibility also in this mess, and maybe he should consider being more selective or being more appointing the appropriate people, not just his friends, not just his relatives.
Yeah. All very great points. Especially, I like what you said, it is all up to us. Nasa sa atin po yun. But we'll leave the conversation there. Thank you so much for talking to us today, former NEDA Chief Professor Winnie Monsod. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Professor.